My brother will never have kids, and it's a huge relief. My brother was recently in an accident that ended up with him missing anatomy that is required for his fertility. He is 100% sterile and can never have biological children. He's said he never wants to adopt because he wouldn't be able to love someone else's children. He even refused to let his wife do IVF because he'd be cucking himself. My brother is a real piece of work. He was abusive my entire life and was the golden child son's band till he got his first serious girlfriend. He was still the golden child, but my mom acted like a jealous ex, hated him when he was in a relationship, but was desperate to get back together when he was single. It was pretty gross. He's also cheated on or beat nearly every woman he's been with. I still remember asking my mom about the bloody clump of hair I found outside when I got back from a sleepover. She said it must have been from a wounded animal. I found out later that my brother had dragged his girlfriend down the stairs by her hair and threw her outside onto the pavement because she said she was breaking up with him for cheating on her. On top of all that, ever since I was a child, he had been obsessed with causing others pain. He was that kid that killed small animals. He'd create scenarios to injure other people, like setting out tacks for someone to step on. He had a fascination with hurting me especially, and I have permanent joint damage likely from him bending my ribs in ways that shouldn't go till I was screaming in pain. He'd constantly lie to try and get others in trouble for no reason, like he covered his favorite shirt in paint and told a teacher some other kid did it for no reason, then to see if he could get that kid in trouble. He was 8. In high school, he punched himself in the face to get another kid suspended. As an adult, he'd break my things and hide them. So when our parents had the yearly, "I'm sick of your crap, do better" talk, he'd tell them, well, she broke her things and she didn't get in trouble. And suddenly, I'd be the one in trouble. He lived at home till he was nearly 30. And while I'm not sure this is why, it lined up with me announcing I wasn't moving home after college. Within a month of me saying that, he was completely moved out. I wasn't allowed to lock my door, so he'd sneak into my room and do things like pour water or spit on my face. He'd peed all over my stuffed animals one time. My mother refused to let me lock my door and threatened to take away the door completely anytime I locked it, even when it was just to change my clothes. She always said, "I'll talk to him," but it didn't make a difference. One time she even yelled at me, "I bet you're real happy because he got a girlfriend and was never home." I'm almost positive she was using me as some kind of offering to her golden child to keep him around. It hasn't been that long since he moved out and in with his girlfriend, now wife. He told our parents that they had just started trying for a kid. I was terrified for that child. My brother would have abused the ever-living hell out of that child. I'm glad he can't have kids and that he has a criminal record, so it would be difficult for him to adopt. He should not be allowed to be given control over vulnerable people. He's a freaking monster. Would I wish death upon anybody? Not many people. But would I wish death upon this guy? Probably not. But am I satisfied with what has become of him? A little bit. Some people just shouldn't procreate. Come on, we've all met somebody where you're like, wow, I hope you don't have kids for the betterment of society. This guy sucks. Anyway, next story. Story number 2. I went through my girlfriend's phone and it left me broken. Excuse me for the lengthy post, I just need to vent. I, 22M, have been dating my girlfriend, 21F, for a few months now, and I thought she was a very sweet person. She was my first girlfriend. In fact, she was my first freaking everything because I grew up with strict, abusive parents. She genuinely seemed like a decent person. The only thing that threw me off was that sometimes, when we were on our phones cuddling, sleeping, or close to each other, she'd slowly move her body and phone away from my field of view. Whatever, I didn't really think it was that big a deal because she could have just wanted some privacy. One day, I went over to her place and she went to shower, leaving her unlocked phone on the drawer. I know this may be a breach of privacy, but I was just really curious to why she'd try to hide her phone from my field of view. I didn't really check much, but one thing in particular that left my heart in shambles was a group chat with her girlfriends, with some of the names that I had recognized. I took a screenshot and sent it to myself. These were the messages, word for word. No, his dick is small. It's like 3 inches, WTF am I supposed to do with this? Ha ha ha, you deserve better. He has an actual shrimp, lol, shrimp, 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 and there goes his flaw. I had stopped reading there and bawled my eyes out. I packed my stuff up and left. When we had sex, she laughed at my penis, and I'm not gonna lie, that had really killed the mood for me. and I didn't want to have sex anymore, especially as a virgin. I just barely held an erection and wanted to crawl in a hole. And for the record, yes, my penis is smaller than average, if we're considering the global average, 5.2 inches. But it's actually 3.5, non-bone pressed, not 3 inches. Not that it matters anyway, but I kind of felt like I had to say this. I've been super freaking wrecked mentally after I went back to my place. I texted my manager about taking a week off. During that week, I had stopped going to the gym and spent every day primarily in bed crying. I didn't talk to her at all. I only had like 600 calories of food daily, a couple of apples plus a protein shake, and I only showered like twice. It's been 2 or so days after that week, and I'm doing a bit better now. I'm going back to work, and I've been slowly easing my way back into my original gym routine. I still haven't talked to her though because it'll probably make me depressed again. I've always been insecure about my dick ever since my teenage years, and I just don't get why it's okay to penis shame, as if I have any control over that. It's not like I don't want an average penis. I had never once made any negative remarks about her vagina, or any woman's vaginas for that matter, because I know that it's not stuff that can be controlled. This all just sucks. Update. Thank you everyone for your insight, and thank you to everyone that reached out to me in private. There are some things that were left ambiguous, things that I had left out in the main post, or certain comments wondering things, so I thought I'd address some here. I'll probably add more when I read more comments. First, we haven't had any kind of formal breakup, but it's kind of implied since we haven't talked in roughly like 10 days. She did message me, at least twice, asking where did you go and why'd you leave. I haven't checked after that because I muted her. I only checked her messages and I only took screenshots of that conversation. There are some things that I left out in the combo that are more or less similar to the messages for the sake of brevity. I deleted the screenshots a day or two after that. It's probably still my recently deleted since I haven't bothered to delete it from there as well. Ah, young love. Young first love. Young first young love breakup love. Pain. That's a rough one, buddy. Yeah, don't go penis shaming people. That's messed up. And don't go booby shaming either, guys, all right? Be nice to each other. Okay, next story. Story number 3. Boyfriend stood up to my dad and mom is finally divorcing him. My father is the classic misogynistic golden child a-hole. His parents pretty much worshipped him and ruined him to the point where my aunts and uncles have cut him and us out of their lives. Last time I saw them was when my little sister was born. He runs his own company, so I think it's pretty safe to say that he has never heard the word no in his life. My mom, my little sister 17, and myself, F28, were essentially his servants. He'd sit in his chair, drink beer, and order us around, scream, and yell at us. Mom was afraid of him, sis and myself too. Plus, we grew up that way, and all 3 of us hated it. I've begged mom to divorce him for years, but she didn't want to because she didn't want to share custody with him and leave us, and later just sis, to be treated like crap when we'd have to go to him. I absolutely understand why she didn't and appreciate her wanting to protect us even if I didn't agree with her method. That all changed though on December 24th. Boyfriend, 32, and I have been together for 1.5 years, roughly, so this was our first Christmas where we celebrated together. Small note on boyfriend. He is not afraid of anyone and hates disrespect with a passion. We walk into my parents' house and dad is in his chair while mom is working on dinner in the kitchen. Boyfriend goes to mom to greet her and complimented her on the decorations. Massive smile from mom. And he greeted dad second. That pissed off dad, but boyfriend has always greeted my mom first unless dad is significantly closer to him. Dad has complained to me about it because he is the man of the house and should be greeted first, and more BS like that. But my boyfriend has told me that this is how he was raised, by an amazing woman, single mom of 2, older sister and him, and he's not changing anything, and I don't see why he should. Boyfriend took an interest in mom's cooking, which smelled amazing, and I saw mom light up like I've never seen before, answering questions, explaining things, sharing tips between them. He's a really good cook too. I absolutely loved to see it. We sat down in the living room. Sis came downstairs and joined us and had a great time together and pretty much ignored dad, who was glued to the TV as per usual. Mom asked if anyone wanted something to drink, and boyfriend jumped up and said, "You've worked hard on the food. It's your time to relax. I'll get it." He took our order and went to the kitchen. Dad wanted beer. Boyfriend asked him what beer he wanted since there are a lot of different ones in the fridge, and dad said, in an angry tone, "Just grab one. I don't care." Boyfriend comes back with a bottle of wine and 2 glasses for mom and myself in one hand and my sister's drink in the other. Then went back into the kitchen to grab the beer and his own drink. Puts the beer on the table in front of dad. Dad stands up and yells, "That's it! I will not be disrespected like this in my own house." Mom, sister, and me just shrunk, but boyfriend turned around and said, I asked what beer you wanted, and you just said grab one. What's the problem? Dad, it's not about the beer. I got served last in my own house. You will not disrespect me like that. Boyfriend said, first off, I got served last. In fact, I've not even put my drink down. And what did you want me to do? Did you want me to, actually did air quotes, disrespect your wife or your daughters instead? I have two hands, both were full. And he turned around and sat down. Dad tried to respond, but just stuttered and pretty much ran upstairs. Boyfriend continued the conversation like nothing happened until Dad slammed the door and boyfriend said, well, that door is shut. Broke the tension and we laughed. It was like that was the moment something changed for Mom. A bit later, we sat down for dinner. I went to go get Dad, told him dinner was ready, and he snarled, I'm not coming out. We used to beg him to come down. Not the first time he's pulled this stunt, but after seeing the boyfriend stand up to him, I just said, okay, and went back down. We had an amazing dinner with Mom, boyfriend, sister, and myself. Afterwards, we sat down in the living room for the gifts. Mom went up to Dad again and came back down not even 30 seconds later and sat on the floor with us to open the gifts. We had so much fun opening the gifts, laughing, drinking, throwing wrapping paper at each other, just having fun without a care in the world, which I've never seen Mom do. Hours later, boyfriend and I were heading back home. Mom pulled us both in for a massive hug. Seriously, massive mom hugs are something else, and thanked us for the best Christmas she's had in years. While driving home, sis texted me a picture of her and Mom on the floor watching a movie surrounded by a mess, which is weird because Mom always had to clean up and keep everything perfect, or Dad will yell and call her or us lazy. But Mom was cleaning it tomorrow. Hell yes, Mom. That all leads to today. Mom called and asked if her and sister could come over to discuss something. They arrived and wow. Mom has had simple mid-long hair, no color, no flavor, just as simple as possible for as long as I've been alive. But now, shoulder-length bob with some low lights, absolutely stunning. All the sadness and fear on her face gone. Still Mom, but an absolutely gorgeous version of Mom. She told us that she's going to see a divorce lawyer on the 9th and will try to find a place and move out as soon as possible. After a long discussion on how she wants to do everything, we asked her why now. She said, and I'm proud and so freaking happy she said this, at Christmas, something changed for me. To see your boyfriend's name stand up to Dad like that, and the way boyfriend always treats you, your sister, and me with so much love and respect, boyfriend actually treats me like I'm my own person, and I have not felt that in a long time. With you two, I'm Mom. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love being Mom for you two, but I'm more than just Mom. I was either Mom or Dad's wife, which is true. He would always introduce her as my wife, never my wife and her name. It might not seem like a big deal, but to her it is/was. I have not been Mom's name in a long time. I've had enough. I'm not letting him treat me like this anymore. I'm not in love with him anymore. In fact, I haven't been in love for a very long time. I don't even have love for him anymore. But your sister is old enough now, and with the two of you and your boyfriend with me, I can do it. I'm so damn proud of my mom for standing up to herself now. I'm so damn happy that my boyfriend was able to make her feel like her own person again when he didn't even try. I'm so damn happy that Mom, sister, and myself never have to be treated like crap by that man again. I'm just so happy. If you feel like you're stuck in a similar situation as my mom, you can get out. You can feel like you again. Do it. Find the love for yourself again. And whether that is because someone else showed you that you're worth it, because you read my and my mom's story, or because you found the love for yourself within yourself again, you can do it. Find you again and be happy again. Happy New Year, everyone. This was a good story. This was a good Christmas story. And I'm happy for everyone involved. I know quite a few people over the years who just can't seem to get out of a situation. And it's like sometimes you just want to shake them. Be like, what's wrong with you? But it really is something that they have to see themselves. And I'm glad that the boyfriend was that catalyst just to realize like, this guy sucks. He has no power over me. Bye. Divorce. See ya. Anyway, next story. Story number 4. It was our 5-year wedding anniversary, and my husband didn't come home. I'm numb. I woke up in this morning and reached out my hand, but he wasn't there. His pillow still smells like him. His coffee cup still on the counter. Everything on my house is a reminder of him. The mangled remnants of his crushed car are sitting in my driveway, and it still hasn't sunk in yet. He will never be home again. I don't know what to do. I don't want pity. I don't want sympathy. I just feel so utterly alone now. He was all I had. Now that he's not here, I have nothing to keep me going. I haven't even cried yet. I just want to be with him. Edit. I can't even reply to these sweet comments. I just can't. Maybe after a while I'll be able to look back on these. I don't know. I'm just not ready to process it yet. Also, to the person who asked, I did have his car brought back to my house. I don't know why, but I still want to have it around. That's the car where we had our first kiss, went on our first date, and right next to it is where he proposed to me. I can't let it go. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart. When I'm ready, I'll look back at these kind words and hopefully it will help. If you are reading this and you have a loved one, kiss them goodbye always. You never know if you will see them alive again. I will treasure my last kiss from him until the day that I die. She nailed it at the end there. You're right. Just treat everybody you love well. Tell them you love them. Because you never know, people. You never know. Anyway, next story. Story number 5. I am very much jealous of my husband's ex-wife. I, 40F, am very much jealous of my husband, 50M, and his ex. Our relationship started with an affair. I know it was wrong. Their marriage was on the rocks and my husband wanted to end it. When she, 48F, learned about the affair, she didn't scream or shout at me. She was rather calm. She only asked me if I truly loved her husband. I said yes. She told me that if I'm going to be a part of my husband's life, I better treat her kids, 19F, 16M, and 14F with respect and not push them to accept me. She didn't even create any hassle in the divorce. Things were tough for us. My husband's parents and friends really criticized us, and his parents almost disowned him. If it wasn't for his ex, they would have went with it. But his ex convinced them not to cut us off. Their parents did forgive my husband, but I still feel like an outsider to them. But they do love our kid, 4M. My husband's ex is very different. She never held a grudge against me, always pushed her kids to have a relationship with their dad. His oldest doesn't want to talk to him because of the divorce, and it always hurts my husband that his daughter wants nothing to do with them. The rest of them are good. They do not love me, but they are very civil. She has never badmouthed me or called me a homewrecker. She did her best for the kids. She still tries her best so that her oldest daughter has a good relationship with her dad. I used to think she was a silly woman for not holding a grudge. She was always nice to me. When I was pregnant, she first congratulated me, and even though she wasn't invited to my baby shower, she sent me a diaper genie as a gift. I always felt guilty that I hurt such a pious woman. To make it more complicated, she is in a relationship with my cousin, 45M. My parents love her. Uncle and aunt love her. Even my cousin's kids love her. She never discriminated between her kids and mine. She always sends some cookies or extra food for my son with her kids whenever it's their visitation time. She even met my son and treats him like her own. For the longest of time, I wondered why is she like this? Is she trying to win her husband back? I even asked her why she doesn't hate me when I was her husband's mistress. She told me she doesn't see the point because whether or not she hates me, her marriage was over anyways. I am jealous of her. She is not just beautiful, but also graceful. I know I was very much younger than her when my husband started the affair, but I can say she is much more better looking than I am. Even if I took her place in her husband's life, I can never be her. Edit. I know very well I wasn't going to be treated like a good person here. I know I am not a good person either for breaking up a home. So I am editing this to clear a few things out. I know I made typos. I wrote this in a hurry. I don't even have time to reverse what I wrote. I am not in a good position right now. And yes, it is because of my husband too. But that is a story I will share later. I fixed the typos. I hope it is all clear to you. And yes, I like her a lot. She is an amazing human. I am glad I don't have any ex-wife drama in my life. And yes, a part of that really makes me insecure because I keep trying to find a fault in her. Because even my own parents like her when she attended the family functions as my cousin's girlfriend. My cousin and her met each other a year ago when he was visiting me and she came to drop off my kid along with hers. She sometimes invites my son to her house. That's why she herself dropped him off. I asked her to stay for dinner and there my cousin and her hit it off and decided to date. That's pretty much it. Also, no, this was not written by her. She doesn't use social media that much as far as I know. I understand that the woman writing this feels bad and, there's a lot of eyes and negativity on her, but I don't feel guilty for her. She even mentioned that in the comment section, people don't feel guilty for her. She broke up a family, right? The awesome person in this story is the ex-wife who was like a monk who has just internalized it and made peace with it and will not be angry about it. She's like, hey, my marriage is over anyway. I'm going to continue life and find new love with your cousin. Oh my God. And the dad, screw him, right? A relationship that started in an affair. Come on, right? You knew what was going to happen, right? I don't know. Anyway, be more like the ex-wife, not this lady, not the dad. Namaste. Thank you for listening.